Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Unravel and Uplift, the podcast where each week we take real life experience and unravel it. The messy parts, the unspoken truths, the things that we all navigate but not always want to talk about.
And then we uplift it, leaving you with perspective shifts, tools, and takeaways to help you move through with more clarity, intention, and connection. Because we've kind of come to the conclusion that life isn't about figuring things out. It's about growing through them. It's all part of the journey.
Yes. So today we are going to unravel friendships in your 40s. I know that you guys have been waiting for this because if your relationships feel different in this season, you're not imagining it, right? Friendships get smaller, they get busier, and sometimes they get more complicated. But they also can become deeper and more meaningful and more aligned than they ever have been before.
It is so interesting when I think it's like my kind of, I suppose, high school, college, early 20s. And it was always like abundance, like, oh, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Let's invite
Quantity,
everyone.
not quality.
Yeah. And it was almost like that was the thing that was defining about you, that as in, oh, if I have more friends.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm popular.
I'm amazing.
You're
popular. That's what it meant. Yeah, she's so popular.
It's like that equation. Yeah, it's like
an
equation. It's almost like look, I can show you how many friends I have.
Right.
And then as you get older, I suppose you may get wiser. I feel like I've got wiser on some things, probably a little bit more clueless on others. You have less time, you have other commitments. I think you have a different perspective too.
And different things that pull you together. So we've talked about this on previous podcasts where, your kids are a common denominator with other moms because you're going to soccer. That's how we met.
Yeah.
Like we met through our boys playing soccer. And here we are probably 11 years later doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So
it's wild.
Right. It's wild.
And I think that's also another interesting dimension as well, Jen, is that, when your kids are very small, like the babies, you're almost all in the same spot. So it's almost like, oh yeah, we're all going through the same thing together.
Play dates, times, you're doing all that together. Yeah.
And then school hits and it's almost like your children's personalities start coming into play. Plus you actually start to see people really parenting.
Right.
And you're like,
these may not be your people, or they could be your people.
Yeah. So I think that also elements. And then, I know I went through the whole, I'll be friends with my kids' friends. And then it's interesting when you're actually still friends with people that your kids, it's not like they're falling out. It's not like there's anything there, but they don't hang out anymore. And that's, I suppose that's the sign maybe of a actual, true, real friendship that's there, that you exist.
Outside of what pulled you together originally.
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive into both. We're going to dive into the shifts and struggles of the friendship and then the friendships that are truly worth holding on to.
So let's start with the unravel. Okay. Let's get real and raw on this. So friendships in your 40s are like, I love you so much. See you in 3 weeks when our calendars align.
Yeah. So we talked about this on our previous, there's some data that we saw that you should see your core group of friends at least every, is it 22 days? 22 days. Well, we have a core 4 in our group that we're like, okay, can we make this happen in 22 days? Because we're trying to juggle all of our schedules, our work lives, our personal lives, travels, vacations, events, commitments. And we really try to put an effort into seeing each other every 22 days because it is just so good for our souls. We laugh.
Oh, we laugh.
We laugh.
We laugh.
We have some wine. We let loose.
Yeah.
It's good to let the brain drain, chill out, reconnect, see what's going on in each other's lives. Like that is really healthy. So we'll talk about that too.
And I will tell you, it is not easy to align 4 people's calendars.
No.
Just with work commitments, travel, kids stuff. It really is not. But I think it's really important that you try and make that commitment.
And we do some juggling. Like we'll say, okay, my husband can take, or so-and-so has the kids, or if I can move this, we can do that. So it takes some accommodating on all parties to make it happen. But I think that's important. You have to prioritize your friendships to make it work. I mean, relationships take work.
And it's worth it.
Yeah.
The energy I get from being with you ladies, even if it's a couple of hours, it just fills my cup.
Yeah.
really does.
And if we don't do it in person, like you had some things you were going through last week, like a situation. And so it's like, take it out to the team, take it out to the group and say, what would you do in this situation?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then we all chime in. Some of it is not appropriate. Some of it is really bad advice.
Yeah.
Like, don't take this advice, but it was funny to say at that moment.
Yeah.
And we just work through it together. So it's nice to have those friends that understand what you're going through. It is a sounding board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feels safe. Okay.
So let's dig into the sort of hardships of those friendships, right?
So this is the shifts that no one prepared you for. A study published in the Royal Society Open Science found that people's social circles tend to peak in their 20s and gradually decline with age, especially during major life transitions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like talking about friendships fading without conflict. Like there doesn't have to be any animosity there. It's not even that you could say, oh, we fell out. Just, they've just shifted, growing in different directions, life stages.
Yeah.
You know, kids, careers, moves. And it'd be really interesting actually just to reflect, I suppose, on a couple of those scenarios that have happened for us.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, your biggest one has to be moving to a different country, right? Coming here to the United States, leaving your friends behind, you know, physically, not, I mean, still you're staying in touch, but physically leaving behind and starting new. And then that weirdness of like, hey, can I sit here? Like those awkward moments are like, are we connecting? How do I feel about that? Does she like me? Should I give her my phone number?
Yeah.
Like there's all this weirdness about making friends in your 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah. I sobbed leaving my friends. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I left them. I didn't leave them. So I'm going to look at it. Moving here, you know what? The kids were young, so it made it easier because there was lots of group ups and, meeting things, especially in the area we lived, that's really switched on like that. So that made it so much easier, but it did feel, it felt bizarre, you know, like I felt like that kid again going into school and trying to make those new friendships. But fortunately some of them stuck, you know, so, and then friends back in the UK, it takes work, you know, it takes work from both of us. I mean, I'm filled with sadness quite a lot because I miss quite significant life events like a friend's baby being born, you know, and things like that. However, I work at making sure I stay in contact and we've had visitors here. It's, you know, and it doesn't take away. Like you've known these people for years and it almost travels the continent.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's other shifts too, where I think we've all had relationships like you're really close with someone and then, you know, people change. And I think about this, if we will always continue to change and evolve, right? Like things come into our lives that change and impact us.
Yeah.
But if you can't change together and then, or respect the other person's change, sometimes you just wake up and you're like, we're just not a thing anymore. Like you're at this place, I'm at this place. It wasn't like it was. And then sometimes there's that guilt to keep that friendship going, even though it doesn't feel right. And how do you handle that? Especially if only one of those people feels a disconnect. You know, you feel icky about it, but the other person's like, oh, this is great. And then you have to be like, oh, we're not really gelling anymore. Like there is that shift that, like you said, that no one prepares you for. You know?
And I think it's just natural, right? For like things to ebb and flow. You might see someone consistently for weeks, you know, because you've been aligned at that point in your life and then you don't see them for another few years.
Right.
And it doesn't mean there's anything negative there. It's just, you just haven't been aligned on the same path at that time as well.
Yeah. And maybe there is a time to reconnect too, right? Like maybe it's just not working for now, but later you'll come back together. But if you don't need to harbor that guilt too. If it's not a fit for you, then don't let it drain you. Like we always say, protect your peace, right?
I think you can't feel guilty all the time about things that sometimes are outside your control as well. Yeah.
But then there is, you know, that like hidden loneliness that people have when you do transition and maybe you're in a place where your life is really full, right? Because you have your work and you have your kids and you have everything else that you do. And one day you're like, wait, I don't have any friends. Like, where are my people? Like, there could be people you're friendly with, but you don't have someone that like you were regularly going out for a drink with or having, dinner with or just getting together. And then there is that loneliness that people go through, and that can be like a really dark time, So
I think that where are my people? I think everyone wants to feel like even if it's one person, they just have someone that they just, I'm going to use the word click.
Right. That's someone that really gets you, right? You can have all these friendly people, but not someone you can spill your heart out to or knows those little funny things about you that no one else knows. Yeah. And that can be sort of like what's behind the scenes. Like, this person has lots of friends, but do they really have that like core friend that can feel lonely?
And I don't know about you, Jen, but I know when that is, because I have this excitement in me, like when I'm going to see that person, like there's just a true.
Yeah. And what are we going to talk about? Yeah. Oh, we have to talk about this. Where we leave things off last time.
Just a genuine excitement. I think it's really good to lean into that for sure.
Yeah.
So according to a Cigna loneliness index study, nearly 1 in 2 adults report feeling lonely. That makes me feel really sad, actually. And midlife is a key period where that increases. Yeah. I could really see that, actually, because I feel like we shift so much throughout these years. And then I also feel there's a part of it, like at this point in life, I'm going to say midlife, where you start to evaluate, what's important to you in life. And that might include people.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The American Perspectives Survey also found that the number of people reporting 0 close friends has increased significantly over the past few decades, right?
Wow.
So, and maybe that could be an outcome of COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Where people were sort of stuck to themselves in their homes, and didn't put themselves out there, for whatever reason. And we're all victims of social media. Yeah. Like you can get caught up into your phone and the scroll and you sort of become introvert maybe.
Yeah.
And you might be nervous to go out there and join a group or start something new like we talked about and put yourself out there, because then you start to feel insecure. What am I going to say to these people? What if they judge me? Yeah. So that can be part of it as well.
I also wonder as well with today's society, if sometimes people might be reclusive because there's overload of like events. Like if I just think, the last few weeks, I know you and I have had various different sporting events, locally, away, and it's a lot of time around people, and these people are wonderful, but they're not your true friends, and that probably eats away at energy a little.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So I wonder if it's also like you said, the COVID, but also society,
right?
With what our lives are subscribed to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's very social. If your kids are in sports or even if they're school things, I remember at elementary school, there was a week where I think we had a band night, followed by a cultural evening, followed by something. And it was literally like, oh boy, hi again. Right. Hello. And it was like, oh, I just actually need to kind of just recharge.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if you're on at work as well.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like I'm in meetings
it can be exhausting. Yeah. You're putting on the face, you're doing the things, how are the kids? How is this? Oh, good to see you. We should get together. We've all done that. Yeah. Right. And I can see how that can just seem a little bit not genuine.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say friendly, but not friends.
Yeah.
Right. So then you leave like not feeling like fulfilled because there's no depth within those friendships. And the data that we just share supports that, that you're not, if you're feeling this, the majority of people are, you're not the minority in this. There is, I think, spaces in life where you do feel lonely.
Yeah. It makes me sad though, because I don't want anyone to feel lonely. So I suppose really we're wondering, viewers, have you ever felt lonely while you still feel like you have a full life? You have a family or not, you have a career or not, but you've got all of these things going on in your life that gives you what you would classify as a full life, but you still feel lonely. And I suppose just a reminder that it seems from the research that you're not in the minority. It seems to be the majority of it.
And you do hear a lot. I'll see it on social media or hear things about certain mom groups, or maybe it was a play date group, or it was a core group that you had. And sometimes one of those people is outcasted,
Mm-hmm.
where all of a sudden they're not getting invited to the function. You see on social media that they all got together, but wait, why wasn't I invited? You know, and then that can lead to the fear of loneliness, and that can lead to the fear of, why was I not good enough? Why was I not included? That is maybe there is a time and a place for that, where you're like, well, are these really my people? If this is how they're treating me and this is how they're approaching our quote friendship, then maybe it's just time for me to move on. And that is easier said than done. I don't want to say that just so abruptly and make it seem like, oh, just move on, because that is very hurtful, but that also leads to the loneliness.
There's also that cliqueness, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just walk in to something and people are just established and they don't mean any harm.
Yeah.
But you
they
just
don't have
know
room
it.
for another.
Yeah. You know, they're full.
Yeah. So F them. Yeah. Moving on. Well, we don't care about those girls anymore. Mean girl group. And let's talk about the awkwardness of making new friends.
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah. I suppose I'm wondering, does this get easier as you get older or harder?
I think it depends on who you are. You know, we talked a little bit before we went live with you guys. And I think you and I are on the same page on this, whereas I feel like for us, it's gotten easier to make friends because we're more secure as we age. We're more confident. I don't feel you like intimidated to walk up to somebody and introduce myself, because I think if they're like us, they're friendly to and open and they'll be inclusive. So I don't think it's as difficult. I have no problem just going up to somebody and talking to them and getting out of your comfort zone. It happens to me a lot. I travel alone for work, and not that I'm turning these people into my BFFs, but I'll just randomly have conversations with people online and we find a common denominator, and it feels so easy and organic, where probably definitely my school years and post school early 20s, that just felt really like weird. Like, I'm not going to say that. That's going to look so desperate and like, ew, I would never do that. But now it just feels easier. What about you?
Yeah, I think I've had my fingers burnt a little in the past as well with girl groups.
Yeah. I mean, not this one.
Not this one, but just when I was younger, you know, just you feel like they've got you back and then they don't.
Yeah.
You know. So I think I've always been friendly but cautious probably a little until I kind of dug beneath the surface a little. I don't know. One thing I kind of came to mind was like when we go on our girls' trips, I think we always like to sit there and see like either younger girl groups or older girl groups, right? Just doing the girl thing. And it's always fun to talk to them and just be like, oh, you know, like,
especially those older girl groups. Like we'll see these ladies carrying on like in their 70s and they're having their wine. And I'm like, I hope that's us. I hope that. I mean, look, and they're all gussied up and they got their jewelry on and, you know,
it's really cute.
It's really cute to see them carry on.
Yeah, it is really, I think watching and observing friendships is fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's just, I don't know. I think I like to treat people as I want to be treated. So, I'll always try and be warm and friendly. You know, and sometimes it's very clear I'm not welcome, but I also don't want those people to feel bad about that as well. Like, you know, I'm not for everyone.
Yeah, none of us are.
And also sometimes people are just full, like you said, you know, and so, but you kind of have to develop a little bit of skin there to be like, okay.
Yeah, this is where I'm at.
This is okay. And like you say, I feel be secure enough in yourself to know that you have friends, you know, and I know we got together with a wider extended group of friends a little while ago, and it was so much fun talking to people that, you know, I may have run into in the past and hung out for an hour or so. And it was so refreshing to be around people that I don't spend all my time with them.
Right.
But it was really friendly and really fun.
And to know that we went into this group, I think, was there like 14 of us?
Yeah.
So our 4 group was there, but we didn't sit by each other at the table. We weren't necessarily, we went out like at this game night. We didn't actually, some of us weren't on each other's teams. So it was at random. And I think there's also a time where you're going to an event and you just glue yourself to someone who's safe. and you don't work the room. You just want to, be with your partner and like, okay, we're here to do this thing. Getting out of your comfort zone, meeting more people, expanding your network. I mean, that's a great way to not make it awkward about meeting new friends, to see if there's a common connection there. We're like, hey, I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah.
We should do this again.
Oh, I would hang out with those ladies in a heartbeat.
Oh, for sure.
They were so much fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So I think there is that awkwardness. But I think it is try not to take things personally, you know, and your people are out there.
Yeah.
It might just take a while to find that treasure.
Yeah.
It's, it's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah. And the research shows that friendships, they're built on proximity. So how close are they? How convenient can it be for you guys to get together? And then repeated interaction. So if you're seeing them at the gym, you're seeing them at your kid's school, at work, like if you're looking to make friendships, think about proximity and think about common denominators, things that are common interests that will pull you guys together. So,
I mean, I've met some great people at the gym, actually.
Yeah.
I really enjoy going to my gym classes and a little selective sometimes because I know they're going to be there.
Right. Yeah. And it goes back to, we've talked about in a previous podcast about those accountability partners, right? Like there could be days that you don't feel like going to the gym, but if so-and-so is going to be there, or they're going to say, Claire, I didn't see you at the gym. Where were you? Right. So, yeah. Also, the University of Kansas study found that it takes 50 hours to move an acquaintance to a casual friend.
Wow.
So it's going to take some effort, right? You're going to have to spend some time. It's not going to happen overnight. And then over 200 plus hours to become close friends.
That's a lot of investment, right?
So that's a lot of time at the gym.
That's a lot of time investment.
Yeah. So I guess that takeaway is that we're not failing or we're struggling at making friendships, but it takes time.
Yeah,
and you have to give yourself that grace that you may not have this like friendship connection overnight, that it's going to take time to make that friendship feel more natural and like together. So give yourself a break.
And like we just sort of mentioned, it's not easy as it used to be because there's a fear of rejection or feeling out of place or not even knowing where to start.
Yeah.
And I think if there's a commonality, that can be really helpful.
Yeah.
I think if there's something that you've got a similar interest in, then automatically it's something that you have to talk about. I think those things come into play.
And be yourself. At the end of the day, we're too old for that shit. Just to put on the mask and act like someone that you're not. And if you lead with being fake, they're going to like you for that person that you're portraying yourself to be.
Yeah.
So just be yourself. And if they can't like you for who you are, then these are your people anyway. So just be genuine.
And just keep hunting for that treasure.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about those evolving friendships.
Yeah. So as we age, studies show we prioritize emotionally meaningful relationships over quantity. And this was actually found through Stanford research. I suppose harking back to how we probably started this conversation around about how in the 20s it was plentiful, like it's all the people.
Yeah.
And now it's actually more like, oh, who do I want to spend my time with?
Yeah.
Where do I have that connection? Where can I be myself? Where am I not going to be judged?
Right.
So deeper, more intentional friendships, less tolerance for surface level connections, and more alignment and honesty. So what's actually better about your relationships now than when you were younger?
That's a good question. I think that the relationships now are definitely deeper, right? Because you've gone through things, you're not as nervous to talk about them, at least in my experience. So these people know you on a deeper connection, and I don't have that fear of judgment. Like I'm just going to be like, yeah, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through. And more times than not, your friend is going to relate to that somehow, or at least just listen, right? But I think about being younger, there was that funness of just like everything was casual and fun, and it didn't seem like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like I have to be very intentional with my friendships now and be like, sure, like, gosh, I haven't connected with so-and-so. I should just drop them a text or send them a funny meme or, a picture of something, and just to let them know that I'm thinking about them. So I try to be very intentional because again, I want to let these people know that I value them. But when I was young, like you just and maybe because we didn't have social media, you just sort of existed. I I didn't feel like friendships were so hard. Friendships were a lot easier. Yes, you had girl drama. Like the girl drama was definitely there over like the stupid shit. But like, I didn't feel like I had to be so intentional.
And it's interesting because if I think back to when I was younger and you had the volume of people there on a night out, for example, and then in the UK, you tend to go for Sunday lunch the day after. So we'd go out and party on the Saturday night and Sunday would be like the hangover lunch and we had like a roast dinner. Like I'm talking all the meats, all the meat sweats, right? All the veggies, the Yorkshire puddings, the potato. And it's interesting because I suppose they're the people that, if I think about it, they're the ones I used to go and have lunch with and we'd dissect the night before. So probably, even though I didn't really think about it back then, they were my close friends.
Yeah.
And when I think about it now, they're the people I'm still in touch with, even though we live a continent away.
Yeah.
So I suppose maybe it just wasn't as obvious.
Right.
You know, that you had that emotional depth, but maybe it just wasn't as recognized. So my husband is watching soccer and someone just scored.
We'll see if our fan base hears that.
So that was him sharing in the background. We are raw and real, like we said.
Yeah.
And I it's interesting, isn't it, how you have that reflection? And I think they probably were my people.
Yeah.
You know, they're the people that would just go and laugh about the silly things that happened the night before, the people that could laugh at themselves.
Right.
And So
I like how you said the depth, the emotional depth, because I think you're right. We were young. We're probably a little selfish. We're thinking about ourselves. And now as adults, we probably do we're mindful. We're more thoughtful, I hope. But I do think we also overthink things too, where we just get so far like twisted and like, oh, did I say something right? Did I say something wrong? And
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm always like second guessing what someone thought about me.
Yeah.
Always. And I've always been the same.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will ever change. Even though I do lots of inner work and reflection, I'm very sensitive to what people think of me.
Yes. Which I think is kind and courteous. Like you should be mindful but I think as women too, we become overly apologetic. Like if these are your core people, like I'm like, Claire, you don't need to apologize.
Yeah.
Like what the hell?
Well, there was one time I did need to when I overserved myself quite a little and then was on Jen's antique table and also vomited a lot. So I feel like that's probably
in a Santa hat.
With all these kind of little I was very much overserved myself that night.
Yeah.
And I feel like
it was fun for the rest of us to watch though. So even though she had a very like, oh my God, I just did that. It is a fond memory of ours.
Well, and I woke up the next morning as a prime example and I didn't remember any of it. And then had my husband recount to me what I did and I felt awful. I was like, oh my gosh, these people I never want to be friends with me ever again.
Here we are.
Here they are. They stuck by me.
Here.
They stuck by me. But I do feel like that was a moment where I did need to apologize.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
As accepting
but like
as
the
you
silly
are.
things, silly things sometimes we apologize for where I'm like, we don't need, if we're comfortable with each other and accepting the little things we don't need to apologize for.
And rightfully so, you will regularly remind me of my episode.
We have the receipts. We have great pictures. Maybe we'll look over.
I walked straight into that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, we've kind of like really dissected this right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the gift of friendships that grow with you. Let's positively unravel this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about the hard parts. But let's also unravel something really beautiful about this stage of life, because not all friendships are fading. Some are actually getting richer and blooming.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we sort of touched on this. We have friends that have seen many versions of us, right?
Yeah.
So that knew us as we're children, our 20s, our 30s, 40s and onward, right? They've seen our growth. They've seen our struggles. They've seen our evolution. They've seen many phases of my hair. My wardrobe, like
they've seen you in those messy moments.
A lot of pictures that I'm like, oh, wow, that you actually have that on record. Great. Thank you for sharing that.
They've seen you as a hot mess express.
Yeah, but that's something that's so special about that history that you have with those people, right? And they knew you before you had things figured out or while you're still figuring it out. And they still choose to be your friend. And, I mean, my dear friend, Nicole, shout out to Nicole, my friend, Carly. You know, I have my Iowa girls that I don't see very often. And when I pick up the phone or when, they share a picture or we have a laugh or a memory. We have all this history. And there's that wonderful moment where you haven't seen each other forever or even talked. And as soon as you're together again or talking or whatever, you pick up right where you left off. It's that one day has passed that you don't skip a beat. It's just like nothing has changed. You talk about, all the things and it's right back where it should be. And that is like the best feeling when things just fall right back into line. And those friendships are just so valuable to me.
Yeah.
And
even though I have a bond with a lot of that between me and a lot of those friends, whenever we go back or they come here, it fills my cup so much. It is, even though it's like years, we just snap back in place. And then we're really good at keeping in touch and just updating as we go through life, just knowing what they're going through, We're still, it's really nice because we're all still significant to each other, It's really awesome.
Yeah. And they, like you said, they're getting richer. They're just getting deeper. And in spite of everything that you've gone through, I mean, we've all had multiple kids. We've gone through marriages, divorces, like all the things, deaths in the family, like all these things that you go through that are like just an imprint on your life and then become an imprint on the friendship that you share, right? Because you go through that together. Yeah. So, I think the unravel of that is like, don't take those friendships for granted. Yeah. And if time has passed, reach out to that person and tell them like how much it means to them or share a memory or, a moment where, cause life is too short.
Yeah. And I think it's those are really based on like trust and emotional safety, right? Yeah. It's like you've weathered that time. So they've got your back. Yeah. They've seen you in some of the worst versions of you.
Yes.
And they're still friends with you. Right.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I miss you all in England. Yes. I miss you all. Okay. They're those ones. The next ones are the friendships that evolve with you.
Right.
So you don't stay the same, but neither do they. But your friendships deepen because you've grown. Yeah. Not in spite of it.
Right. Yeah. So the research on long-term relationships shows that a shared history builds trust and emotional safety, like you talked about, which deepens that connection over time. So I'm sure, all of us, many of you have had that friendship that's actually gotten better, like a fine wine over time, right?
Yeah. And you work those kinks out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like friendships take work. Yeah. Friendships can go ups and downs, but you work those kinks, and you really want to be friends.
Right. Yeah. And to be honest about where you're at in life, and if and that you can feel comfortable talking about that and hopefully that your friendship can still remain solid through that.
You got the ease of being fully yourself. So less performing, less proving, more honesty, more acceptance. Yeah. Almost that you don't kind of have to dress up to impress.
Right.
You can just be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And even like every time I come in here, so we record at Claire's house and every time I come in, Claire will be like, don't judge me. My house is a mess. And I'm like, stop apologizing for you living life. Yeah. Right. Like, but you'll apologize every time. I'm like, yeah, Claire, whatever. But if these people are your really friends, they're not going to care if you're disheveled. They're not going to care if you're living in a sea of chaos because we all are. Yeah. We all have our moments, right? So
I always put a candle on though. So the
aromatherapy vibe is going. The aromatherapy vibe is strong at Claire's house. It's very good. It very puts us in our element for podcasting. But like, you shouldn't have to apologize for that because like we're friends. And if I'm going to come in and judge you, then you shouldn't be my friend anymore. So if you have those people in your life, so stop apologizing. Yeah. Like we know if they're your friends, they know that you're living life. We know you're not a slob.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also that humor, the humor and history you can't recreate, those inside jokes, those shared memories that we've been through it. And it's almost like you can't fast track that stuff, right? Yeah. It goes back to those hours. Like I had never thought about, like I do value time, right? And I do see that time is valuable, but I hadn't kind of really realized that investment, like the 50 hours to the 200 hours and what a difference it makes. But it makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
And just those inside jokes, just there can be a word.
Participate.
Yeah.
There was another drunken stupor of Claire's. I think we all were on the sauce that night, but she with her British accent, she likes to really pronounce things. And we were playing a drinking game, I believe, or doing something, but it's carried on to multiple events, like a girls' trip. So she's like, you must participate.
I've got a bad
Eating
reputation.
oysters, we had to participate. Yeah. Yeah. The things that she makes us participate in, it is surprising we're
There's
still friends
always
sometimes.
new and novel experiences.
Yes.
Always.
You must participate. Yeah, I'm not doing it justice. Yeah.
Well, you did a very
Thank you.
good job. Thanks. And then that deep loyalty that comes with time. Those friendships may not be constant, but they're solid, you know, and you can always pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
It was just like yesterday. And even though you've aged and you've changed, I don't know, it's just, you just know each other.
Yeah. And like when you hear that person's voice, she's like, oh,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm so excited to hear your voice or to see your face, like on FaceTime or see them in person.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. You just get right back where you left off, and it just feels so good to like reconnect with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've unraveled the real, the messy and those honest parts of friendship in this season of life. And yes, friendship can get more complicated.
Right. But they can also get deeper, more real, more meaningful than they've ever have been in before. So let's talk about how we actually nurture and create more of that in our lives.
So I think that I know that research that said, see your girlfriends every 22 days. I mean, it resonated with me.
Yep.
I feel as a group.
Yeah, it keeps us in check.
It does. Yep. And I think, you know, that's probably one of our little in-jokes now, that we've got to do this.
And we do a good job of planning the next one.
Yeah.
So before we depart for our, wherever we're done, we're, you know, wrapping it up for the night, we say, okay, let's get the next one on the schedule. And then that's where the debate happens. Like, can you do Wednesdays? Can you do Thursdays? What about this day? Can you do 5? Should we do 6? Until we find one. And in most recent history over the last couple of years or so, we don't leave without having a new date.
Yeah. I try to.
Yeah.
I'm often ready to go to bed. And it was like 22 days, Glenn. I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it is that consistency over intensity, because sometimes it can be literally we see each other for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Other times we go away for a whole weekend, you know, and so I think it's more seeing each other regularly and consistently than it is like we have to see each other for 24 hours solid, you know?
And figure out what works for you, right? Like maybe it's not always in person. Like a group of girls, my Iowa friends, like I don't see them that often, but I'm involved in that group chat. And so I can pick up where they left off. I see pictures. I see what they're talking about. I can jump in what I want to. I catch up on their lives, like sort of at a distance.
Yeah.
Cause they're all together in Iowa, but, I still can feel involved, and it makes me feel included. And, it's those little snapshots of time that you can like connect without like it blowing up like your whole schedule, and just, it can be on your own terms. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to see you, you know, every week in person. Like you can figure out a way to make it work for you.
And I find like FaceTime and WhatsApp is like key for me.
Technology is key.
And then I do really appreciate, and this is a shout out to everyone in England, that whenever we say, hey, we're coming back, everyone shifts their calendars. They will travel hours to see us as well. And that, I want you to all know that is extremely appreciated, because we love seeing you. So thank you. So I think also that depth, you know, that, and not the quantity. So like, I suppose we used to always think that the number of friends meant that you were more of a person.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, you realize that actually it's not the number of people you can count on your fingers.
Yeah.
It's the quality of those relationships.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And investing where it's mutual, where you have those common bonds, and it feels good, and it doesn't feel like work, even though we talk about relationships take work. You have to be mindful of them, but it shouldn't feel like work. Yeah. So again, focus on the depth of your relationships, and it's okay to have that one really good friend or 2 really good friends, or maybe you have these small circles like we do. And you know, I think there's that saying, I'm probably not going to say it right, where there should be 7 people around you that make you a better person. Right. And, I mean, there's people in my life that have made me a better person, that enrich my life. My friend Katie, who taught me to run a marathon. You know, I can barely run down the street, you know, but she was a seasoned runner, and she made me a better person. Like I am so like grateful to her and the way that, she thinks she brings a different richness to my life than some of my other friends do, then there's just so many people in my life that have enriched it and made me better. And I'm so grateful for them. So think about that depth. There's people in your circle that rise you up, that make you better, and they encourage you. They're cheerleaders. And they probably don't even know it, but when you're with them, you're a better person.
I also think it extends as well. Like I know I've got a really good work friend, like a really good work friend. And then I've got someone who I class as my mentor, that, but again, there's consistency there, there's depth, there's a mutual like respect and wanting to stay in contact. So, it extends beyond just those friendships, I suppose, really, to whatever you term those other relationships.
And why people come into your life, not to get all woo-woo, but I think there's people that are in your life and maybe on paper, they wouldn't be like that friend for you, but there was a reason they came into your life at that moment and they either taught you a lesson, good, bad, or indifferent, or they did something for you that made your life better or put on a different trajectory. So look for that too. Like think about the history of your friendships and then look forward to like, why is this person in my life? Or why am I reconnecting with this person? I think there's nuances out there that, can bring sort of that like, oh, that's exactly what I needed.
And you can be on different journeys with different friends as well, which I think is so magical. You know, just what you get from one friendship can be different to what you have with another.
Yeah, definitely.
That variation.
Yep.
So a Harvard study of adult development, 80 years long, found that strong relationships are the number one predictor of happiness and longevity. So friendships are not extra, but they're actually essential for that happiness factor.
Yeah, for sure. And longevity is like such a buzzword right now, right? Like people are just figuring out how they can have a better quality of life. And I mean, I totally can see how friendships lean into that, because of what they give back to you.
Yeah. They really do, like filling your cup.
So schedule the time, be the one to reach out. Don't wait for them to come to you. And then just find those rituals, whether it's like, we're meeting Sunday for coffee, or I go on a walk with this person, or we're going to do a monthly meetup, or we, try to call that person on your commute home from work. Like figure out those times that work for both of you to connect. It's important.
And I think if you're someone that's trying to find new friendships or establish new ones, venturing out, because we're in this life of this transition of exploration and figuring it out, and you may not have found those people that feel like you're your people. I think it's really good to try and be intentional to the extent of surrounding yourself with people that you think you're going to have common similarities with. Being regular and scheduled with that, so that actually creates that momentum, because we can't forget the fact that those hours go into that friendship longevity and meaningfulness. So if you are embarking upon new friendships, I suppose my kind of words would be, make sure that you find people that are aligned with you, create that time, create that space, and do it routinely, every 22 days. Every 22 days.
And don't be afraid to put yourself out there. We've talked about this in the podcast too, that like get used with feeling uncomfortable. That's going to give you the growth, and then say yes. We talk about saying no a lot and setting personal boundaries, but say yes to trying something new, to going to a dinner party where you may be the party of one, and introduce yourself and think about what you want to say to these people and what do you want them to know about you. So don't be scared to put yourself out there. Put yourself in the room.
It can be fun meeting new people. It really can.
Yeah. And what they bring into your life, right? And if you hadn't put yourself out there, think about friendships. If you had not put yourself out there, would you be friends with this person now? So I'm sure we all have history to say, oh yeah, that worked. That worked. Yeah.
And I think, there is something about putting yourself out there and having vulnerability and emotional sharing. And it's not easy to be vulnerable. But I think if you can be, it will pay off. That vulnerability, it really does go a long way. People get to see the real you, things feel genuine, and it's not something to be to feel shame about, even though I think there is often this whole, if I showed this about me, then it means X, Y, Z. I think genuine people really do see vulnerability as a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And I think this is a good transition to, once you've learned to put yourself out there to find new friendships, it's okay to let go of those forever friendship pressures. Like if you've had a friend that's been in your life for such a long time and it just doesn't gel anymore, it's okay to let that go. Like, don't have the guilt of, continuing to try to carry it on for the sake of carrying it on. Some friendships can be seasonal, and that's not considered a failure. You hopefully both got out of it what you needed at that time. It's okay to let them go. But I think so many people put that pressure on them to keep it going. And it can exhaust you. And maybe it's just not worth it because of where you both are at in your life.
And I'm a great believer that some friendships were just there at that moment in time. A bit like what you were saying around, it was a lesson that you learned, or that person came into your life for a reason.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean because that is no longer there that it's not, that you failed.
Right.
It just means that there was some reason.
Yeah, that season's over.
Yeah, some meaningfulness at that time. And maybe they've evolved, maybe you've evolved.
Right.
It's okay to kind of go, huh.
Yeah.
It's also okay to kind of go, huh, kind of disappointed by that.
Right.
And, because that's only human. It's only human to feel like, or relief. You might feel relief as well, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So don't be scared of those feelings. I think that's natural. And like we talk about as women, we put a lot on our shoulders to keep it going. And what does the world expect me? What should I be doing? And, play nice with others. And we, not to go back on this, but we think about the messaging that we give to our children when they're young.
Yeah.
When they have like birthday parties, like, oh no, everybody's coming. We have to be inclusive. Everybody needs to be involved. Don't exclude. That's mean. Of course, invite her over to play. So we grew up with the messaging of to include, and make it work. Even if you don't really gel, you make it work because that's not being friendly if you don't. Well, now, as we get older, we're like, no, I don't even like that person. We don't get along well. We don't have the same interests. It doesn't feel genuine. And so then you can put up that guardrail to be like, I don't want to invite that person. I shouldn't feel guilty for not inviting that person. These are not my people. So I think there is that balance in life where you can come to your senses as we get older and be more purposeful with your friend groups.
And I think that's also okay as well. Like you have to feel okay with the fact that.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, that is okay.
Yeah. It's not that you're not being inclusive. Just, it might not be a good fit.
Right. Because we're all strapped for time.
Yeah.
So you got to make the friendships that you have really meaningful and really make them count.
So what we'd urge you to do is embrace those solid friendships that you have. There's something incredibly grounding about having just one or two people in your life who have seen you through all the stages. The good, the bad, the messy, the growth, the pivots, all of it. Yeah.
And these friendships where you don't have to explain the backstory, they lived it with you, they laughed with you, they cried with you. In a world where there is so much change, these friendships are your constant, right? And that feels good. They're your reminder that who you've been, how far you've come, and they know you to your core. So thank those people.
I think sometimes as well, we're so busy, we stop to pause and think about those friendships, almost take them for granted.
Yeah.
So we'd really urge you to reach out to your friends.
Yeah.
Message them or put a comment on Facebook, or call them. I think there's different methods just to show your friends they're important to you, you're thinking of them. It really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we talked a lot about friendship. We've talked about what we unraveled the friendship. I hope we gave you guys some takeaways to uplift into your friendships, and that friendships in your midlife, in your 40s, they're not broken. They're just evolving. We talk a lot about transition and things that happen to us during this midlife, and how to deal with those. And that certainly applies to friendship.
Yeah. And our call to action, I suppose, is action it. Do something like plan a coffee, send a text.
Yeah.
Actually get with your friends.
Yeah.
Even if there's a pond between you, I've made it work. FaceTime someone, WhatsApp them.
Yeah.
There's ways and means, and just have that connection. Because as we've just talked about, it can bring happiness, you know, and there are a lot of people out there who are lonely. And to those people that feel like they've not found their people, keep persisting.
Right.
Keep trying. You will find your people. They're out there.
And understand what's behind the changes that, you know, your friendships are going through, or you as an individual is going through. I mean, your approach to relationships can be more intentional. You can have more compassion. You can just be more honest, right, about where you're at. And hopefully that brings more hope and a deeper connection and that gratitude, you know, like we talked about.
So we'll be back next week to unravel and uplift something new.
Yeah, please join us.